Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No.
I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Monday morning. Welcome to a new week on The Big Show. Hot Mic is live on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN at Inforum.com. Happy Monday, everybody, on the 18th day of May, 2026. I am Dom Izzo, host of said show. Welcome inside. Hope everybody had a dynamite weekend and enjoyed some, I'd say, pretty moderate temps this week, and then had to deal with, finally, some rain, but we needed it, and it's all right if it does it for a little bit today and then cools off for tonight. We got another round of T-ball action coming up later on. Great to be back. Hope everyone had a dynamite weekend, and I'm here to tell you that we have now reached tournament season for North Dakota Spring Sports. We had about 3 weeks of a season, and now we're ready to crown some state champions. The North Dakota State Track Meet is later this week. Begins on Thursday out in the state capitol. We'll be out there for our live coverage beginning on Thursday, televised Friday and Saturday. We'll give you all the intel on that and preview that some bigger events as our show rolls on this week. And then next week we furl that into the 6 tournaments that are all happening at the same time, whether it's soccer, tennis, baseball, or softball. That all begins a week from Thursday, and then golf wraps it up after that, and then we're done for another spring sports calendar for North Dakota in 2025-26. And we get a little bit of a reprieve, and before we know it, we're talking First Down Friday before you know it. I will say this week, for those that are waiting and wondering, the countdown officially returns later this week. Thursday will be 100 days out from week 0 and the start of the college football season. So those that have been waiting patiently, it is almost now the countdown on from under 100 days. That comes up later in the week. Now, that's not trying to wish the summer away. We got lots to do over the next couple of months, but football is never far from the brain on anybody around here. I'm trying to distract myself from what happened Friday night. Friday night was an abomination. I got 2 emails last night already recognizing what went down at Target Center. The Spurs beating Minnesota by 30. The third time this series the Wolves lost by 30 or more, which that's not a small margin of discrepancy between the two teams. That tells you one team is vastly superior than the other. And what this team looks like, coming back for next season will likely be vastly different. Who comes back is a matter we will get into. If we have time today, we will. If not, certainly tomorrow on what this basketball roster will look like for next season. With that said, the Western Conference Finals begin tonight. The East Finals tomorrow. We'll get to that in just a little bit. We'll start our Monday with the Twins, who played 3 really competitive games with the Milwaukee Brewers at Target Field. They only won 1 of them, but the baseball was pretty good. Crowds were outstanding, as we thought they would be, as we visited with Corey Provis on the show on Friday about that. The Twins will move on and get the Astros for the next 3 days, and Houston's bad. But one thing, as Corey told us on the show on Friday, Milwaukee is solid. They are good on the bases. They pitch really well, and they get just enough offense. That's exactly what happened on Friday. It's exactly what happened on Saturday. Yesterday, the Twins were the beneficiaries of just enough offense, because if the game had continued for another couple of batters, I think we're talking about a Milwaukee sweep, because they were on the doorstep of tying this game. Highlights from yesterday's game. at Target Field was the Cody Clemens show. This guy was picked up about a year ago. I did not anticipate we'd still be talking about Cody Clemens in a Twins uniform a year later. Starts the game with a RBI double to score. Austin Martin makes it 1-0. He's up again in the third with a 1-1 game. Hits this one off the wall and left. Ryan Jeffers hustling around. He will score. Now the ball gets away. Clemens is out here hustling. He's going to be awarded home. He gets a Little League home run here as the Brewers threw it around. Makes it a 3-1 score. Back comes Milwaukee, though, off Bailey Ober. Garrett Mitchell deposits one out to right. Makes it a 3-2 Minnesota lead. Christian Yelich, you still remember him, up at the plate. This in the fifth inning, bombs this one to right center. Nearly 400-foot shot. The game is tied, to the delight of the Brewer fans that made their way to Minneapolis this weekend. Ryan Jeffers in the home half of the fifth would untie it. Is Jeffers the Twins all-star rep right now? I think it's Buxton, but Jeffers is getting some serious consideration. He's been good. It's 4-3. Twins add a run. It's 5-3 going to the ninth when Luis Garcia makes it interesting. Jake Bauers singles down the right field line. Makes it 5-4. Sal Frelick with a chance to give Minnesota a heartbreaking loss, but he pops out to Victor Caratini, who makes the play. Again, the Brewers are runners at first and third, but Minnesota scrapes by to get one out of the three against Milwaukee. 5-4 the final yesterday at Target Field in front of a really good crowd. Nearly 26,000 in attendance yesterday as the Twins win for the 21st time. Now 5 games under 500. Ober goes 5 innings, gets the win. 6 hits allowed, 3 runs. Only struck out 1, but did enough in the victory. So with this homestand nearly done, remember they took 2 of 3 from Miami. They win 1 of 3 against Milwaukee. The Twins, as you wake up this morning, sit in third place in the American League Central. A game ahead of Detroit and Kansas City. The Tigers are bad, but the Tigers are also beat up. The Royals are bad. They don't necessarily have the injury bug excuse there. Kansas City might just be bad at 7 games under 500. How about the White Sox? Chicago is 2 games over 500. They just won a weekend series from the Cubs at Comiskey Park. It's still Comiskey Park to me. And, of course, the Guardians out in front. So there actually are 2 teams over 500 now in the American League Central. All it took was to May 18th for that to happen. Twins, I mentioned, and have the Astros coming up tonight. Now, we discussed this on the show with Corey Provis on Friday. How bad Matt Wallner had been, that it was an easy decision for the Twins management, Jeremy Zoll, the general manager, and Derek Shelton, the manager, to send Wallner to St. Paul. They're going to have a conversation, if not already. Maybe this happens as the show goes on today. Maybe it happens before first pitch tonight on Royce Lewis. Because for a guy that 2 years ago, after that great playoff run where Lewis is cracking bombs and delivering grand slams in huge plays, he cannot find his way right now. It's in a bad, bad situation where he's striking out at an alarming rate, at a rate that he cannot stay in the lineup right now. I mean, it is complete fishing out there. We're going to show a couple compilation plays here from the weekend where now it's not only affecting him at the plate, it's taking it to the field. Saturday night is a perfect example of that, where he's playing third base and completely muffs a ball here. That's a tailor-made double play ball to be turned. Instead, it gets by him, and the Brewers score and start a big inning. And then yesterday, he's at the plate completely lost. He had several 3-pitch at bats. This was one of the rare ones that actually got extended because the Brewers couldn't make a play in the field. So his at bat gets extended, and he still can't do anything with it. Strikes out here, end of the at bat. It got so bad, it one at bat later in the game. Right, he's down 0-2 here. He's fouled a couple off, strikes out, 3 pitches, see you later. That was I believe, in the 3rd inning. Here he tries to bunt to get a hit. And they did that with 2 strikes. Challenged to pitch. I mean, it's not good right now. 163, 3 strikeouts yesterday. And we're talking from a guy that was unstoppable at the plate. I mean, he was hitting grand slams at a record rate, and now he can't hit the broadside of a barn that he got pinch hit for in the game yesterday against Milwaukee. Trevor Larnach pitch hit for him late in that game. If that's not another sign that, hey, things may not be going your way, I'm not sure what is. And unfortunately, the Minnesota track record here, you worry about that the injuries that he's had, 3 significant knee injuries, that can he overcome that and get back to where he was? Where he was when the Twins won that playoff series in 2023 was a future cornerstone of the lineup, was going to be in that 4th place hole and just be a monster. And instead, especially over the last year plus, has been just fishing at the plate and unable to basically hit. I mean, 3-pitch at bat yesterday, tried to bunt on 2 pitches and whiffed badly on the 3rd. Struck out in a 10-pitch at bat where he swung at 4 pitches nowhere near the plate and whiffed at 3 of them. So we'll see what the Twins do here, as no off day. They're right back playing tonight with the Astros coming to Target Field for a 3-game set. It's just, it can go that quick on you in baseball. It really can, and you just hope that he's able to get it back, because when he had it, man, it was fun to watch him. And right now it is an eyesore to watch him at the plate. We'll see what happens. Mentioned Twins and Stros coming up tonight. A couple other things here before we set up the show. We got a busy Monday here. A lot to get to, as we always do on our Mondays out of a action-packed sports weekend. We are down out of the Final Four in the NBA playoffs. Unfortunately, the Wolves couldn't give us a Game 7. And that's the thing about what happened in Game 6, that San Antonio dusted Minnesota, because the Pistons were able to force a Game 7 last night. And then you take your chances. Cleveland was amazing last night, and Detroit wasn't. And Cleveland won by 30 on the road in a Game 7. They're going to play the Knicks now, starting tomorrow night for the Eastern Conference Championship. That's all we wanted to have happen with the Wolves. Just get it to a Game 7 and then take your chances there. Instead, they had several no-shows. Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels. This is now 3 years in a row they have crashed out of the playoffs. Dallas destroyed them in Game 5. Remember that 2 years ago at Target Center. Last year, Oklahoma City boat raced them in Game 5, and then Friday night in Game 6. Meanwhile, the Thunder have been sitting around for a week and a half. The Knicks have been waiting longer for these 2 series to begin, which will now start tonight. NBC has the Western Conference Finals. It starts tonight in Oklahoma City. Remember, San Antonio beat the Thunder 4 out of the 5 matchups during the regular season. Let's go. Wemby versus Chet will be intriguing. ESPN and ABC have the rights to the Eastern Conference Finals, and that starts tomorrow night at Madison Square Garden. The Knicks have home court advantage because the Cavaliers knock out the number 1 seed. The 2 seed was Boston. They got beat by Philadelphia, so the 3rd seeded Knicks are still alive. In the NHL, We will have a Game 7 to wrap up the second round tonight in Buffalo, New York. I know some peeps that are going to be at the game tonight. It will be rocking in downtown Buffalo. The winner of that between the Canadiens and the Sabres will get Carolina. Carolina will have 12 days off before they play another hockey game. They swept the Flyers a week ago Saturday. Have not played by the time Game 1 comes around, which is not till Thursday. They'll have a full 12 days off. Game 1 of the West Finals comes up on Wednesday night between Vegas and Colorado. Jared Bednar, by the way, the head coach of the Avalanche, I don't know if you saw this yesterday, said, we will have a much more difficult time in this series than we did in our previous one. So just taking a shot at the Wild there, believes that Vegas is a much tougher matchup for them than Minnesota was in the previous round. Granted, the Avalanche have lost one game combined in the first two rounds of the playoffs. We'll see what unfolds there. But we're getting down to it, the nitty-gritty here in both the NHL and NBA playoffs conference finals starting this week. We got a packed show coming up for you here on this Monday. Excited about our guest lineup. We'll do our best of the weekend. We do it each and every Monday to start off our week. Got a really good pick of the litter here to get through. That's coming up in just a few minutes. At 9:35, Sam Herder will join us, does each and every Monday, to give us the lowdown on everything going on in FCS. As we mentioned, the countdown will start later this week to get us ready for Week 0 and the start of the college football season. We'll chat with Sam about that at 9:35. Jeff Kolpack is with us in studio at 10 o'clock. Jeffrey was up on the north side of town, as was I this weekend for the Summit League Track Championships. Another sweep for the Bison, rather impressively as well. We'll chat about that. Also, we'll get into it with Tim Polisek's new contract and some other football chatter with Jeff. We'll do that at 10. And at 10:35, North Dakota State at a busy recruiting weekend. They have found their quarterback for the class of 2027 out of Kearney, Missouri. Carter Temple will join us. Impressive young man who actually knows Fargo pretty well. He's actually wrestled up here. He won a USA Wrestling Championship in Fargo 2 years ago in July at the Fargo Dome. He will now be playing football for the Bison inside the Fargo Dome. You'll meet him coming up at 10:35. Impressive young man there. So a lot to get to here on a busy Monday. Glad you're joining us. We're just getting started. We come back. We'll salute our best of the weekend. Plenty from the track to chat about. We'll do that when Hot Mic returns on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com right after this. All right, it's Monday morning. We do it each and every Monday at 9:20. We salute our best of the weekend, which will be track filled here on a Monday, not just from what happened at the Summit League Championships. The Big Ten held its track championships in Lincoln this weekend. Typically something we wouldn't normally cover, but we had several local athletes. One deserves recognition here, and I appreciate the email I got on this Saturday night to make sure we got it on the show from New Rockford, North Dakota. The Belquist name keeps on keeping on. Obviously, we know Bo had a tremendous football career at the University of North Dakota. His younger sister, Kelsey, who was a track and basketball star in high school, of course, suffered a torn ACL, was not able to compete her senior year in high school. Rehabbed that, still wasn't herself last year. Now it seems like at the end of her sophomore year of college at the University of Nebraska, she is hitting her stride. Saturday afternoon in Lincoln, she competed in the 400-meter hurdles of the Big Ten Championships. And let's just say this was a long time coming for Belquist. She delivered in a way that she had yet to do at the college ranks. She was the favorite coming into this event and then delivered in a way that she had been waiting for a long time. She got out in front in this race and never looked back in winning a Big Ten championship. She led from start to finish. And the hurdles, I'm not a great track mind from what I know. This is one of the tougher events, because you're trying to run as fast as you can and not slow your momentum down once you go over the hurdle. The fact that she was able to get out and was not challenged tells you exactly of where she's finally back. health-wise. Clears the last hurdle here, goes on and wins at a time of 56.11 to take the championship. Been waiting a long time to get this. The emotions were overflowing afterwards. She was interviewed briefly on the Big Ten Network on Saturday. Could see the emotion in her face, and clearly the rehab of the last couple years, the pain of not being able to compete certainly was there. Congratulations to Kelsey, a Big Ten champion. She made the NCAAs last year. We'll see if she's able to go to Oregon again in a few weeks. West Regional is a week from now, and we'll see who's making it on to Eugene. That's where the NCAA track championships, of course, are in Tracktown the middle of next month. Congratulations to Kelsey Belquist. That was good stuff. Good stuff on the golf course this weekend as well. PGA Championship was held just outside Philadelphia at Aronimink Golf Course, which got some shots taken at it. I will say this, and I didn't watch a ton of it this weekend. I wanted to see our guy Tom Hoagie did, which we'll show you here in a second. The crowds were awesome, which if anybody knows anything about Philadelphia and its sports, that was going to be a slam dunk, and it was. Speaking of our guy Hoagie, made it to the weekend of a major. That hasn't happened since the Masters a year ago, April. So that was a win in itself. Now remember, Tom wasn't even qualified for this tournament a week ago today. He needed Jake Knapp to withdraw for him to get into the tournament. And he did. Hoagie took advantage of that. He had a middling couple of first two rounds. Got it going on Saturday, though. That at the 16th hole. Made a birdie there. Par threes are his jam. We know that. This at the 17th on Saturday. Granted, Saturday was a pretty good scoring day for everybody. Hoagie was right in the mix of that. That's a tremendous tee shot at the 17th. He would cap it off with birdie. That got him an even par round. He actually shot up the leaderboard on Saturday, moved up 15 spots because of it. Sunday, different kind of day. Again, he had 7 birdies yesterday. That was for a birdie at 16. This was for a par putt at the 17th. One of the 3 bogeys he had yesterday. He made 2 doubles. It was all over the place for an even par round. Finished tied for 26. Makes $125,000 in the process. And moved up a couple spots in the FedEx Cup points. The story, though, was this guy, Aaron Rye. The leaderboard was so odd yesterday. This for Eagle at the 9th. He might want to keep leaving the pins in when he putts because that seemed to be a theme yesterday. Zoomed up there. This out of the bunker at the drivable 13th would make birdie there. This is the shot of the weekend for birdie at the 17th. And how about just jar it? What an unbelievable putt. His reaction was just as good. Slams that from every angle. It just gets better. They gave him a 3-stroke advantage. His caddy was probably more pumped up than he was. This was to clinch it. He takes home nearly $3.7 million. He said afterwards he's going to hit Chipotle after. Why not? He becomes the first Englishman to win the PGA Championship since 1919. The Black Sox through the World Series. That happened more recent than an Englishman won the PGA Championship. Think about that. The PGA that year happened in 1919 in June. The White Sox threw the World Series that October. It's been a little bit. Congratulations to Aaron Rye. That was fantastic. Little drama that we had in the final round of the PGA. We thought we'd have some drama heading into the final day of the Sub Elite Track Championships. NDSU and Paige Rensselaer made sure there wasn't going to be any drama whatsoever. The Bison women put the hammer down in a way that they distanced themselves from UND. Rensselaer in the best way possible. The Shanley grad, who was unheralded coming out of high school, has turned into a bona fide star at NDSU. First, she won the 100 meters. In the process, set a Summit League and track record. Granted, the wind was what it was, but captured the 100. Wasn't done. This is a better look at it. Our guy Sam Getzinger was on the track. This from up top, you can see Rentschler pulling away to take the 100 meters. So an hour later, she comes back. By the way, it was her birthday on Saturday. Her teammates sang happy birthday to her after she captured the 100. She came back about 45 minutes later to run the 200. And again, this wasn't a fair fight either. It's hard to tell from track level how far ahead she was, but this wasn't close. She ran the 100 in 11.24. She had already set the meet record in the prelims in the 200 at 22.98. She wins in 23.43. Look at right there on the curve. That's where the best 200-meter runners set themselves apart. Rentschler did it there, and you could tell it was boat race city after that. Wins the 100 and the 200. Just caps off a phenomenal year, just completely out of the blue. We're going to have Paige on later this week to talk about what a phenomenal year she has had. Now, if you thought that was impressive, which it is, what UND's Jaden Keeler did might one-up that. Keeler, who we've had on the show, has been to the NCAA track championships, the cross-country championships. She was the Summit League track MVP a year ago. She decided to double that in 2026. We showed you on Friday this, which was the 10,000 meters, which she ran away from, no pun intended. She won this race by just a couple of minutes. She came back on Friday and ran in the steeplechase, which we didn't expect her to. Sam told us that she told him that she just decided to run it, and she ran away and won the steeplechase for UND. That was a race they weren't even expecting her to participate in. She wins that. Comes back on Saturday and competes in the 1500, and you knew where this was going to go. She, of course, wins that. Second year in a row, she wins the Summit League track. She deserves a bow. Wins the Summit League track championship MVP. Here's the crazy thing, folks, on what she's done this year. She not only won the Summit League indoor track championship MVP, she was the cross-country MVP. She's the outdoor track championship MVP. Pretty good year for the Manitoba native. We'll have Jaden on later this week as well because her season's not done. She'll be heading to the NCAA track championships in Eugene as well. Congratulations to her and all the athletes. It was the track champ. Whenever NDSU gets a chance to host it, I try to go up there as much as I can because you got head in a swivel. There's so much going on. The emotion is real. We'll talk more about that in the second hour with Jeff Kolpack. That's our best of the weekend. We do it each and every Monday at 9:20. Some really worthy, on all local winners here this weekend, which I love even more. We'll take a break. We come back. Sam Herder will join us. We'll chat some FCS football with our guy Sam as the countdown to the new season is upon us. That's coming up when we come back. Off and rolling here on a Monday morning. We start our Mondays with our guy Sam Herder from Hero Sports to join us. I mentioned off the top of the show we are officially at that week where Thursday we are 100 days out from week 0 and the start of the college football season. So we officially will get plenty of hate mail and tweets telling us not to wish away the summer. But officially the countdown is on, Sam, come Thursday morning.
Yeah, we on with the FCS season starting that Thursday of week 0, we hit the 100-day mark a bit sooner for the FCS. So yeah, the countdown, the jersey countdown begins this week where I, best returning number 99, 98, 97, all the way down to number 0. And I think this is year 8 or 9 of me doing it. So it's fun to it's a different way to highlight the top returning players. There are some numbers like 58 is like usually not a very popular number, or like 61 is usually not a very popular number. So some of those numbers I have to dig a little bit more, but like 21, there's like 20 different options for a popular number like that one.
What is the criteria on how you go about selecting said player?
Yeah, it is. So I build out the database, and it's pretty much every returning all-conference player from last year. Then I also plug in all-conference players from 2024 as well, just in case, like Charles Pierre Jr., for example. You don't want to forget about a guy like him who was really good in 24, but he missed all of last year. So you plug in some guys that maybe got hurt last season. There was, production, PFF grades, All-American accolades. Like if you're a Buck Buchanan Award finalist, freshman All-American, FCS All-American. So you kind of put together a big database of all of these top returning players. And then from there, you kind of just go number by number and kind of just, try to figure out, who has the best resume, who's the best player. Some of them are very, very close. So you try to distinguish, who the top players are with all of these numbers. So it's a very fun project. It takes a lot of time. It's always funny. I base the numbers off of last season.
Oh.
Because rosters get changed sporadically all the time. Like I might honor a guy at number 97, and then in mid-July, he changed his number to number 8.
Correct.
So I was like, all right, I'm just going to stick with last year's roster numbers, or else all the numbers kind of get jumbled around if I don't.
What's the feedback you get on this? I'm assuming you probably get some that are like, hey, where's our guy, right?
Yeah, a decent amount, sometimes in DMs, or sometimes I'll get emails. People somehow find my email and, hey, consider this guy for number 87 or something like that. So there's give me some coaches or even some parents that, start petitioning for their guy at certain numbers. I try to work ahead a little bit. Sometimes some social media departments will ask me like, hey, what guys on our team are going to get honored just so we can get some graphics ready. But I usually only work like 10 numbers ahead just because, sometimes it can take a while for each of these numbers.
This is a rather busy week in the NCAA. They always have different councils, but the D1 cabinet is meeting this week, not about NDSU's waiver. This is about the 5-for-5 proposal, which we've talked about, and we thought this might be off, years down the road. This sounds like it is a freight train happening for this fall. I'm really interested to see how that affects for football rosters going forward, what that means for guys that thought, well, hey, I've played 3 years. Now I didn't redshirt. I might have another year of eligibility. I may not spend it at said school. That's going to change everything. And this sounds like it's going to happen before the football season.
Yeah, there's really good momentum behind it. And I think it makes a lot of sense. The only thing that gives me pause is like right now things can get messy with like the medical red shirts and all that. But like if a guy is on year 5, he's a 5th-year senior and he tears his ACL in week 2, like his college career is just done. Mm-hmm. Where now it's like, okay, sometimes you can get that medical red shirt and you can come back for another year. But so like that scenario would be like very unfortunate, but overall it just makes sense because there are so many red shirts and hardships. And, just a few weeks ago, we found out that the Connors brothers from UC Davis were being able to come back. And right now, Villanova starting quarterback, Pat McQuaid, he's looking for an extra year of eligibility. And I reached out to Villanova's head coach earlier, this weekend because I'm doing the Villanova preview right now. I'm like, hey, like, what's the status of Pat? Like, can he come back? And, they said they're still waiting to hear back. And so we're 100 days away from the season and they don't know if their starting quarterback is going to get that extra year of eligibility or not. So going back to the 5-and-5, it's a lot more transparent. Like you get 5 years to play, 5 seasons, as many games as you want. So you don't have to worry about the 4-game redshirt rule as freshmen. Like that's out the window as well. So I do think it makes sense. I'm sure there could be lawsuits as always, like a guy that played 4 years, in four seasons in 4 years that says, hey, I didn't get a 5th year. We'll see, how that lands in court. But yeah, there is strong momentum behind this.
The intriguing part of it, how they're going to work with the existing players underneath this too. add up what gives you the most eligibility. Like for players that have redshirted, I don't believe they're going to get that year back. I look at guys that have played, like an Eli Gilman played right away, that he would get another year under this for Montana, or if he wants to use it somewhere else in 2027. That's a big boon if you're trying to figure out a roster. We may have this guy for another year.
Yeah, and I think that's why maybe it seemed like this was going to be, kind of take a while to fully kind of move in, but it sounds like maybe part of the momentum behind it is because there needs to be some clarity, moving forward as far as roster construction. And I think like the players that have already exhausted their eligibility, maybe they played 4 years or 4 seasons in 4 years. It sounds like those players would not be grandfathered into this, but players that have eligibility remaining right now, they could maybe, like you said, get added one more year at the end of it, just, based off of when this, finally goes through.
And that just changes everything for, even right now, for coaches that are out recruiting on the FCS side of things to say, oh, well, I don't know how many spots we have because we may have our best running back, wide receiver, defensive lineman decide, hey, we played him, they have another year, we're certainly not going to close the door on him.
Yeah, and especially with the house settlements, and you have you're kind of slowly working your way down to 105 players, and you have what do they call, like the designated student athletes, something like that, where they don't go toward the 105 limit. And there is, kind of speaking on that, there's other FCS teams that have opted into the house settlement starting this year where they didn't last year. So they missed their opportunity to kind of grandfather in those roster spots. So some of these schools have to cut down to 105 right away if they're opting in a year later. So yeah, it's all this roster management stuff with the transfer portal and how many years of eligibility and cutting down roster spots. It gets very complicated. Then from the FCS perspective too, you have partial scholarships as well. And some conferences have scholarship caps, other conferences don't. So you can go above 63 scholarships in some conferences. It's just it's a wacky time right now when it comes to all of these different things.
We talked on the house settlement, it seemed like every week last summer on what teams were going to do and what weren't. I'm really intrigued on the FCS teams that now you mentioned that are opting in, why they did it a year later, and now they're up against it. Like you mentioned, they have to be at 105. There's no grandfather those guys in because they didn't do it right away, of what their thought process was when they saw it. Oh, we financially can make this work. But now you're in a bind where you got to cut guys.
Yeah, I want to say notable teams like UC Davis and I believe Idaho as well opted out last year, and now they're opting in this year. And like you said, because we talked about it all last offseason, where some schools said, well, we're not going to opt in right away, but we might give it a couple of years and then opt in just to see how everything shakes out. But I kept on saying that didn't make sense because you only have this one window to grandfather in those roster spots. So yeah, for these teams that are opting in this year that did not last year, they missed that opportunity. Now they have to, hit those roster limits, right away. They don't have an opportunity to grandfather players in. Now, some of these rosters were already at, the limits. Some schools don't carry 120 football players. Maybe they're already at 107. So, kind of naturally you lose those two guys anyways due to graduation. So for some programs, that's not a big deal. But for others, it maybe would have made more sense to opt in right away instead of waiting 1 year.
Craig Haley sent me this stat. 7 playoff teams from a year ago have new head coaches this coming fall. Drake, Lehigh, Mercer, Montana, obviously, New Hampshire, South Dakota, and Yale. Always hard to anticipate what kind of success that is with a new coach, but that's a high percent. That's 7 of the 24 that are going to have new coaches coming back this season.
Yeah, and some notable teams as well. Obviously Montana, that one jumps off the page right away, just with the whole storyline of Bobby Houck retiring and then coming out of retirement within a week.
Correct.
And you have South Dakota as well, who had so much stability at the top with Coach Nielsen, and now they've had 2 new head coaches in 2 years. Now they've promoted from within, and so there's some stability there. Maybe the most under the radar one is Yale,
Yeah.
where they take Kevin Cahill from Lehigh, who was the FCS Coach of the Year last year, who really helped Lehigh rise up. He goes over to Yale, so I think that was a really good head coaching hire right there. So yeah, there's a decent amount of like FCS to FCS moves, like West Georgia's head coach moved to Mercer, and then I think West Georgia, they took Presbyterian's head coach. It was kind of plucking from each other. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting coaching carousel this year.
I had an email to ask you, did you see what happened with Mercer's football schedule last week? Mercer announced its football schedule late last week with a week 0 game, but no opponent. I've never seen that before. Like they're going to play week 0, but they said the opponent will be released later this month. Do you know who this is? I don't know who this is going to be.
I think it might be a Southland opponent. I don't know for sure. I wonder if they're still working through the details and the game contract. I know like the FCS kickoff is still kind of an unknown, like it's moving out of Montgomery. But I know as part of the Southland's media deal, ESPN will broadcast a week 0 game like 3 times in the next 7 years. Now, if Mercer is playing a Southland opponent, would that be at the Southland team's, home arena? Maybe that gets on ESPN. I'm not sure, but it was interesting to see that they released their schedule. Maybe they were just having impatient fans like, hey, where's our schedule? And then Mercer said, well, we'll release it, but we're still working on the game contract for week 0. I believe it is a Southland opponent, but I don't know that 100% for sure.
And the game is in Macon, so it's at home. I guess to your point, we know the games. We're playing at home, so we're going to play this date. But that makes sense. I've never seen that before to release a schedule, but the opponent is TBD. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's interesting, and I think there is still some decent FCS teams with week 0 openings. So I talked on the show last week about how the week 0 slate, there's like 7 or 8 like good games from an FCS perspective that I go, okay, that's pretty intriguing, but there's not like a like a top tier matchup that would be great for national television. So that was a bit unfortunate from week 0 scheduling, but maybe Mercer can kind of, because they do have a pretty good home environment. Maybe they can land a good opponent there.
Who knows? Maybe that'll move up the leaderboard if whoever they get. We have some news to share. People that follow you certainly on social media know that you and your lovely wife are expecting. This is going to be your last appearance with us for a bit. First off, welcome to the greatest club in the world. Being a dad is the best thing ever. Tell us about excited. What's due date? All the good stuff. What do we got coming here?
Yeah, baby girl is due June 1st. We'll see if she makes the appearance at the end of May or June. Early June. But we're kind of at that time where in any one of these weeks. So last appearance on the show for the time being. I'll take a good chunk of the summer off with parental leave, but I'll still be somewhat active on social media. Don't want to go totally silent there, and I'll keep the jersey countdown going as well as much as I can. That's a daily thing, but we're very excited. First baby for us, so it'll be different for sure. But we're very excited about it.
Well, cherish the sleep you get between now and whenever baby comes. I'll tell you, I'm sure you've heard that from 1,000 people, but I heard the same thing, and they were all right. Everybody was exactly right about it. So congratulations, you and your wife, bud. Enjoy it, and we'll catch up down the road once we get closer to the start of the season, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Yeah, we'll see you on the other side.
Sounds good, bud. There he goes. Congratulations, my man. Sam Herder joining us. He and his wife are expecting, as he mentioned, a baby girl. Fantastic, and wish him well and enjoy it. It's all I'll say is just that first month is just a blur. I remember the day that Jackson was born. After that, it was a blur coming back to work a month later. Just crazy, but happy for Sam. Let's break. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Big second hour, including you'll meet NDSU's football commit for the class of 2027. Their quarterback commit is coming up. We come back on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. Our thanks to Sam for giving us a great start to our show. Wish him and his wife the best for what's to come for a major life change for them in the next couple weeks. Let me find the email I got late last night. Dom, I'm here to eat my words. Wolves could win this if, well, they didn't and won't. Game 5 and 6 were showing tell of why not. Yes, the Spurs have Wemby, who shuts down the middle, scores from low in the post, but it's the perimeter players who control the scoring offense. Spurs guards and forwards, starters and off-the-bench players can shoot the three or get past a Wolves defender. The Wolves team had no answer. Minnesota seems slow afoot in getting back on defense. Talked about that. Or playing defense. Talked about that. Poor three-point shooting allowed Wemby to stay in the key and not forced out to defend. Gobert was forced to come out and defend, opening up the Spurs offense. Wolves were unable to shake a defender for open shots. Minnesota totally out-rebounded. The Wolves' team competitive makeup did not match up well offensively and defensively to compete successfully. Wolves' offensive philosophy and personnel may need to change in order to compete as a quicker scoring team. All of that is dead accurate. I can't add anything to that other than say, yep. Especially the last part. Philosophy and personnel may need to change in order to compete as a quicker scoring team. The exit interviews they gave on Saturday were very telling. There was one guy who didn't do an exit interview of the regular rotation guys, Julius Randle. When it was Naz Reid talks about they got to fix the moodiness of the team. Where is that? That's Julius Randle. Now, you'll be selling really low. I'm not sure what the attractiveness here is of a contract like that. He just signed a new deal, remember, after last offseason, where the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, he was great. But John Krasinski reported in The Athletic that Randle was visibly shaken, or you could see his game was affected by his name being out there around the trade deadline. Remember that the Wolves were pursuing Giannis, and Randle's name was out there. So was Jaden McDaniels, and just did not recover after that. Did not have a good year. That's something Tim Connolly, the general manager, is going to have to – they're going to make moves. I tend to think that Rudy and Randle are both gone. I think the core 3 you can't mess with are Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, and I believe Naz Reid. And I think Beranger's got to play as well, that they see enough there that I don't know what the appetite is for Rudy, who's got 2 years left on his massive deal, as does Randle, but you cannot run it back. They decided to run it back this year after making it to the West Finals again, and it didn't work. Now you've got to make some significant changes. What those are will be very interesting to see once the season ends, once the offseason begins for Minnesota. They have the 28th overall pick. They can trade their 2028 first-round pick. I don't know if that's appealing to bring in a point guard and not have Anthony Edwards do it. That would be task 1, in my opinion. We'll break. We come back. Jeff Kolpack will join us to recap another championship weekend for the Bison on the track. That and much more when Hour 2 of Hot Mike begins on WDAY Extra right after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo. It's that time. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2. I forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4! I should have yelled 2.
Here he is, back from a windblown couple days up on the north side of Fargo.
Not a good hair day.
Our guy Jeff Kolpack joins us. His appearances are brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Good to see him, man. You were up working all weekend up for the Summer League Track Championships, which the Bison swept again, which I shouldn't be surprised at considering this is for the men 16 and 18. The women won a 17th title. What's your overall takeaway from what you saw this weekend?
First of all, a conference track meet is always one of my favorite events to cover. It's just the competition, the intensity, all of it. It's all there. The only bummer is it didn't come down to the 4x4 relay.
No, it did not.
Because it was long decided before that. And so, tell you what, NDSU, I was driving home on Saturday. I'm just thinking, this is one program. It is a program. Mm-hmm. It is a well-oiled machine. You have a head coach who obviously knows what he's doing, and he's pulling the right strings. But more than that, when you're at the finish line all afternoon, like Sam and I were, when you're sitting there and you're amongst everybody and you see the assistants and how they interact with all the athletes, you hear it, you see it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you what a good track coach is when it comes to an assistant. I really don't know, because the techniques and all things are just so beyond my comprehension. But I do sense, I know it when I see it. I know good coaching. I can hear it. I can feel it. And that's good coaching. Again, you can just see the way they interact. I'm sure they challenge them during the year. They challenge these kids during the year. I mean, it's not, what did Craig Bull say? It's not all brownies and chocolates or whatever. I mean, I'm sure it's not that. I'm sure they challenge these kids during the year. But this is why they do that. And Tim Paulsek once told me many years ago when he was an assistant, and he goes, and he can get on some kids too, but he goes, you know what? When they do things right, and when they do something that's worth celebrating, you better be the first one in line.
Celebrate it. Yep.
To give them a celebration.
Yeah, and that was certainly the case this weekend. I want to start with the Bison men, what they did, because I don't know if it was unexpected. South Dakota State won it last year, and I think, talking with a few of the guys like I did Thursday and Friday, I think they took it personally. I mean, Zach McGlynn was amazing. He won the decathlon. And this is a guy, again, who came out of really relative obscurity in high school ranks to become the greatest athlete in the Summit League. That's what happens when you win the decathlon. He did that. They had Ryder Pickett, a freshman from Carrington, win the javelin. That's Caden Pastian, who won in the hammer throw, was second in the shot. Adam Duggar breaks a 39-year-old school record in the triple jump. And Ethan Moe, who wins here. I mean, they got it from all corners to win this thing on the men's side.
Yeah, they did. And you talk about Zach McGlynn. He was 6'3", 155 coming out of high school. Again, that's just good recruiting.
Stephen, Minnesota. Yep.
Just you see that they see potential. These coaches, they see potential. And a lot of times you have athletes who are multi-sport athletes in high school. And you think about it, their spring track season in high school up here is probably just a few weeks.
Yeah.
So you really don't have time to develop. You really don't have time. The coaching is what it is. I don't know how much you pay a high school track coach, but it can't be a lot.
Much. No.
Plus the hours in the spring in track and field is just over the top. But you find kids, you find their frame, you find their parents, you find their competitive drive, and then you have some things to work with. And that's obviously what they did with all those athletes. I mean, Ryder Pickett came in pretty heralded. I mean, he
was
came
a really good, really good athlete at Carrington, yes.
But the javelin coaches, and I've known them for years, are really good.
I look at Paul Olson out of Kindred. Paul was a great high school athlete. He was a great basketball player. He ends up going enrolling in track, and he finished second in the decathlon. He's good at everything. That's another one. He's just a great athlete, and that's where Stevie Keller says we can use you in the multi-events, and from everything from running to pole vault to he's a fantastic athlete.
Yeah, well, it's a start. We thought he'd go basketball.
Yes,
not?
Right. I mean, he was a great basketball. He led him to a state championship in
Yeah.
basketball.
But he comes here, and I can't imagine the work it takes to put in to be a decathlete or a heptathlete.
Yeah.
You're just not learning to run. You're learning to throw.
Do everything.
You're learning to jump. You're learning all this.
Right.
Things.
That's a perfect segue to Yolanda Nabwe from Jamestown.
She had no idea on 5 of the 7 events.
You and I both talked to her on Friday. She won the heptathlon, and she didn't know any of these events that she was signing up for.
She was a good hurdler.
She knew the hurdler, but out of the other 5 events, that was foreign to her.
Yeah, well, just the steps on jumping.
Yeah.
The Fosbury flop.
To do the high jump, right. So she won. But you wrote this on your story for Saturday that the Bison women had a significant deficit. UND had racked up a ton of points because Jaden Keeler was doing amazing things. We featured her earlier in the distance races, and the Bison women came all the way back and won this thing on Saturday.
Yeah, they had they had a good day Friday in qualifying. Yes. And you look at where the rally started on Saturday is, I know we're looking at the HEP here, but you look on Saturday that the rally started with 100 hurdles because they qualified 5 of the 8 spots. And then they went 1, 2, 3,
5, 7, I think,
7,
right?
Something like that. And all of a sudden UND's 35-point lead or 40, whatever it was sliced to very little. And here's the thing about track and field is once the big mo gets going, and again, we were there, we were down in the finish line area, you could feel the momentum just switching with these kids. And now here's the story of the year in track and field is Paige Rentschler. Where she came from, and I did a story on her last week, and she graduated from Shanley, and I think at that point, even during graduation, wasn't really sure she was, in her words, give track a try. I think I'll give it a try.
Give it a go? Yeah. Seemed like it worked out.
16 months later, or whatever it was, she's shattering Summit League records in the 100 and did the 200 in the prelims. Now, again, obviously...
That's coaching there.
But and her father, you talked to Stevie. Her father was a really good track athlete at NDSU, a competitor, and Stevie would tell you it was fun to watch him compete because he was one of those guys who just was really competitive. And
there you go.
There you go.
Also doubled, as you guys found out, was her birthday on Saturday. There's the team saying happy birthday to her.
Who's singing happy birthday over there?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was her.
Yeah.
Now, I look at her story. Let's look at it historically speaking now in the distinguished historic NDSU track program over the years. That I think, like Aaron Teschik came here out of Winnipeg, very unheralded, same thing.
Totally.
And just started chopping seconds and felt like minutes off her time.
Yep.
But then she goes on to be an Olympic, Canadian Olympic team member.
Correct.
It's the same thing here. It's remarkable.
Whitney Carlson came here. I mean, granted, she was a good athlete in high school.
She ran on a dirt road.
Right.
Yeah.
And then comes in, she's an All-American in the heptathlon.
Yeah.
Same thing.
She ran in Robinson, North Dakota. She off a farm.
Right.
She was running on dirt roads. But the same thing here with Paige Rentschler, where she came here, and there's just no way you could predict what this happened.
No way.
Slicing almost a second off her 100 time.
Well, because
that's like you shooting a 79 in golf.
What do
you think?
89 in golf.
Okay, let's call that.
But typically, the track standouts we know them in high school. They're heralded. Paige was not that.
Well, she wasn't that bad.
School.
I mean, she finished third. To a couple of good runners, if I remember right. West Fargo girl, but I mean, it wasn't like she was, didn't finish in the state track.
But again, there's just some off the beaten path of where she.
That's
came
a walk
from.
on, walk on.
Yeah.
When you say
Really
I'm thinking about giving it a try.
Yeah.
And then it's I can't describe. I can't put words on it.
It's pretty good stuff.
It's just it's Cody Mogg being a walk on tight end. Like, okay, I'll give it a shot, and ends up being a second round draft choice in the NFL. I really think that's a probably good comparable there.
Sydney Art was the winner in the hurdles you were talking about. That started the Bison comeback.
Yeah, I talked to her after that, and you could tell the electricity
was going.
Yes.
Yeah, and they ended up coming back from that. Jaden Keeler was amazing. I mean, from UND, the fact that she was able to win the events she won the steeplechase, she won the 1500, and she won the 3000, or what else she won, the 10,000. I mean, just a clinic she put on over the 3 days she was
probably
there.
Might be a good marathoner someday.
I would think so.
When you have that stamina and that endurance to do that.
Well, and to your point, like, she just decided, no one thought she was going to run the steeplechase Friday. She decided to do it and then won it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an event
that's
you
talent.
just, right? It's not an event you just
talent.
show up to do. For those who don't know what the steeplechase is,
that's
you're
hard.
Jumping over hurdles and water.
That's hard.
Over a 3,000 meter race.
I still think the toughest race in track and field these days is the 800.
Yeah.
Because in the last several years, it's turned into a sprint.
Yep.
And that's where Ethan Moe was unbelievable. Because as a track guy myself, I really enjoy watching track. And I just, in the running events on the field, that he was very tactical, and that's what he said afterward.
Yeah.
Oral Roberts guy with a lap and a half to go or something like that, just started bolting out. And it's like, oh, okay, here we go.
The race is starting.
And I was near some other NDSU athletes, and I might have been Zach McGlynn or somebody like that said, he started a war. The Oral Roberts guy started a war. And it was.
Yeah. How was the crowd? Watch it a little bit.
Pretty good.
It built up. Thursday obviously was pretty lame, and the weather was not great. Friday was better. It looked like Saturday was
so
fantastic.
Windy. Yeah, it's just, can we get a...
Yeah. It's May.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen here. But it looked like it was pretty... Obviously, the sun was out.
I thought it was fun.
Hey, compared to the last time we had it here in 2023, it was pouring rain on the final day, so you'll take it for what we had.
I
Saturday.
choose to forget that day.
Yes. Well, the Bison won't, as they're champs again, and their season isn't done. McGlynn's he's automatically qualified that he'll compete in the NCAAs in the decathlon.
Yeah, he qualified top 10.
He was top 4 when he put his points together on Saturday. So the top 25.
Is Paul Olson in there now? Because he
was top 20.
Yep,
he's in right
top
now.
Top 24 make it.
Right. He's in there now. We'll see. There's still some other meets to be held, but that'd be unbelievable. If the Bison get 2 to the NCAA meet in the decathlon, come on.
Yeah.
That'd be crazy stuff. Both local guys as
Hayward
well.
Field.
Tracktown, USA. Let's break. We come back. We'll chat some ball. We'll get Kolpack's thoughts on Tim Polasek's new deal. Finally, we've been working on this story for the better part of 7 months.
It seems like longer.
We'll talk about that when Hot Mike returns after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Jeff Kolpack joining us. Bison QB commit Carter Temple will join us in a few minutes. I know you saw that over the weekend. Bison have got their 2027 QB commit locked in. Kearney, Missouri. That's Cole Davis's hometown. That worked out in the past, obviously. Cole was main backup for Easton Stick during his time here. You look at his highlight tape, and we'll show it later. I mean, he's big left-handed guy. He's 6'3", 220. What does that remind you of, right? So we'll hear from him coming up in just a little bit. So last week we were here hinting that we might have the Tim Polasek contract story. And lo and behold, about 4 o'clock last Monday, we finally got our hands on it. The story we've been working on for about, 6 months, right? Since it came out about Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah, and I think I put my open records request in like mid-January. I put it in so long ago I forgot I did it.
Yeah.
But thanks to NDSU administration for honoring that.
Absolutely. So what do we make of it? First off, on the deal itself, what stood out to you when you looked at the raw contract?
Well, certainly in 2027, topping 7 figures.
Yep.
But it's the going rate. And I think what I sense is that people are pretty accepting of this is the going rate of FBS. If you want to play big boy football, you got to act like a big boy program.
Yep.
And I haven't seen a whole lot of negative feedback. I haven't. I don't know if you have.
Not a ton, a little bit, but not a lot.
But what if this were 2008?
Oh, it'd be a different story.
Oh my goodness!
Yep.
Yes, every legislator from.
Well, and it's not without. I mean, Robin Hubner's story in the forum said that they'd like to see receipts of a Polasek deal, which it's going to come from usual corners on that. But this is the going rate.
It's not coming from taxpayers, people.
Correct.
This is funded from the athletic department.
And this is, if you want to play in this division of football, you got to pay your head coach this kind of money.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
And again, I go back to like when they built the president's house, and I was one of those all in favor of make it as nice as you can, because this is a fundraising machine. This is not Joe Chapman's house. He's just living there until the next person.
Until the next one comes in. Yep.
And so I was all on board. Make it. I mean, heat the sidewalks so Mrs. Nussbaum doesn't break her hip going in to give $1 million or whatever. So same with the Polasek deal. This is not so much about him. It's about the position. And because he's not, maybe he's gone next year. Well, who are you going to attract for $600,000 at that job?
Right. If you're paying over $1 million, though, you're going to get some candidates there.
Yeah, you're in the game. Now you're in the ballpark.
And the buyout number, was that curious at all to you?
It wasn't a whole lot. And
$750,000 is chump change.
Yes.
If whoever wants him, that will be nothing for them to pay that. The number goes down to $250,000 if Matt Larson leaves before Polasek does, which is that's a conversation I had last week and I wanted to bring up with you on his immediate future. What's Matt's deal in this now? Because we've talked about this ad nauseum, I think, for the last 5 years on Larson specifically. Because I thought once he got the indoor facility done, I'm like, he's good. Everything he wanted to get done, the dome is out of his reach in terms of renovating that, but everything else he got done. The last thing was getting the Bison to FBS. That is now done.
I think he's put together a very good resume.
Pretty good.
I mean, he's got to be marketable, I would think.
Yes, I would think so.
And he's raised the money, which is what they look at. He's built the facilities, which they look at. He's won championships, which they look at.
Right.
I'm not sure what else is there.
In multiple sports as well. You know, if we just talk about track, basketball swept it this year. Golf won. I mean, this has been a pretty banner year of what they've had on the north side of town for what's gone on. That would be the next story. I think
I wish he'd leave so I could take over as AD.
Oh, really? What would you do?
Oh, you wouldn't believe what I would do.
I'm sure of that.
I would fail miserably, just miserably at that job. Hey, I can't fundraise.
Yeah.
Hey, Dom, how about $30 for the athlete? No? Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry to bug you. Didn't mean to bug you.
You wrote a story as well. The men's golf team begins its NCAA tournament today with some schools you may have heard of that are in the regional. Is it now? And I visited with a couple of guys who were in studio last week. I think they're more than excited. Hey, their season keeps going. Anything from here is just a bonus.
Of course. You're in the NCAA tournament, and you're golfing in a regional with defending national champion Oklahoma State and other great programs. But you got to go in there and you can't freak out.
Right.
It's golf. You know, like Amy Olson once told me, so Grant Olson, when he was playing linebacker, he's opposite. He's got to rev himself up and go smack some mouths and smack some heads. Where Amy, when she golfs, she's opposite. You got to relax, just play, do the old play your game.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting what Jake Scarper told you as well about how they're figuring out the course, that the simulator would show some things, but obviously there's going to be some stuff that you can't simulate till you get there.
It's a mental thing. So, like when I play Edgewood, I'll play the simulator first just so I could.
Yeah. You need that for that course?
Well, on number 9, can we please blow that green up, people?
Wow.
It's got to be. There's like 3 greens that need to.
It's just because you can't putt it
take
well.
The dynamo.
You got to blow it up.
Buddy. All right.
I'm just telling you.
Let's play for dinner.
Well, I just give you the money now. I'm not going to do that. I'm just saying. Email comes in. Now Polisic deal is done. What other big check marks are for Bison football before the new season begins? Oh, obviously
the
we're
dome.
That's one.
And Mike had a good column. It's got to be addressed. I mean, it just has to.
Yep.
You cannot let your top asset, your biggest asset, just go to waste.
Just look at the Civic.
Yeah.
The Civic's a great example of what you can do if you don't care about it.
And by the way, taxpayers in Fargo, if you don't think you'll be on the hook for that, I mean, that's why that vote with the sales tax was such a miserable failure, because other town people would help pay for it and probably, frankly, pay more.
Absolutely.
With a sales tax because they're coming from Hillsborough, Jamestown, and shopping here.
And all out west as well.
And now, if you just want Fargo taxpayers, if you just want you to fund it, well, good luck.
Yeah. To me, it seemed like such a slam dunk that I think the misnomer still is it just is for Bison football, and it's so much beyond that. If you go to any concert, if you go to any event, the boat show, whatever it is, I mean, it's
a quarter.
It's beyond.
It's a quarter and $100.
It's beyond what it's needs
unbelievable,
to have happen
but
here.
Whatever. I blame Charlie and the convention vote for having I write ants in the pants
to get one done and the other. Yeah,
I think it was more important to get the dome done than
the convention center.
I do.
I would concur with that.
That could have waited 3 more years.
But the messaging again on the dome part, they still messed that part up. The first vote to have the special election, and there were no voting booths on the south side of town where all the newer families live. That was a mess up.
Move. That
right?
was a bad move.
That was a complete mess up on that.
I have several friends live out by Davies.
Didn't know.
Right? Where do I go?
Where do I got to go? I got to go all the way to the mall or beyond that?
I think they're somewhere on 13th or something. Nobody knew.
That was a colossal mess up on that. To me, I think that's something they still have to, whoever wins the election in June, to address. It's not just for Bison football. And I think that hangs over everything that people aren't Bison football fans thinking, well, it's just for the Bison. It's not. You go into we go quite often to the dome, whether it be Disney on Ice. We were up there for
circus,
right? The circus. I mean, it's a dank building to go in. It just is, and it needs some TLC. It needs some love.
Well, plus it needs 60% now with the supermajority.
Right.
Who was the clown that put that in?
I can't remember. That's before my time.
Yeah,
but it's well past its time on that. Football wise, I will say, transitioning onto We're waiting. Next thing is the 5-for-5 eligibility, which it looks like
discuss this week more, but won't be voted on.
No, but it looks like, and even visiting with Larson at this up at the Summit League Track Championship, this is going to happen before the start of the school year.
You think so?
I think that this is going to happen.
That's aggressive.
Before maybe in June, they're going to flesh out more, but they didn't put out that.
Well, it's going to have to be grandfathered, right?
I don't think so.
Really?
I think the eligibility that for people that are graduating now or graduated this past weekend, they got to set a time somewhere. You know what I mean?
It'll be great for people, for schlups like you and I, when we write Bison sophomore Dom Izzo, or is he a junior?
No,
or maybe he's a freshman. I can't remember. I can't figure this out.
Here's the one
Did he
thing.
get a hardship? Does he get another year of
correct.
eligibility?
We've been doing that dance for 6
done.
years, especially with the extra year of COVID. If I'm a Bison women's basketball fan, this would mean Avery Coonan would have another year to play. Whether she decides to spend here or somewhere else, that's the possibility. Or any of the other freshmen that have played in basketball. If you're Donovan Woolen in football, suddenly you've got 2 more years of eligibility.
Speaking of Avery Coonan, it was fun to spend some time with Tim Miles because his son had a really good weekend. He coached Avery's son or dad at Southwest State.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And Gabe had a really good weekend for the Bison track team.
He looked good. Yeah. He just missed on the 400. The guy who beat him had a career day, but I think Gabe. Is he a sophomore or junior?
I believe he's a sophomore. I thought. That's pretty. So already the athletic ability is certainly there. Not with the old man. We figured that as much.
He was in the stand when I saw him in the stands. He must have said, "It's all me," like 5 times.
I'm sure he did.
Really. I saw Tim Miles. I was in Bismarck. I covered University of Mary or Mary College back then. I covered Mary basketball when he was there.
Yeah.
And no. There is no athletic ability there.
Good stuff this weekend. Thanks for coming by, my man, and enjoy the rest of your week.
I'd like to roast Tim Miles more. Can I come back?
We can certainly do that. Well, we can just have him in studio and do that.
Yeah.
We can do that. Jeff Kolpack joins us each and every Monday. His appearances are brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. We'll break. We come back. The Bison QB of the future. You're going to meet him. Carter Temple from Kearney, Missouri will join us when Hot Mike returns after this. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on a busy Monday morning. If you missed it in all the other sports news happening over the weekend, North Dakota State football had another busy one on the recruiting front as they added 2 players, one out of Nebraska, one out of Missouri. The one out of Missouri we're visiting with this morning because NDSU has its quarterback commit for the class of 2027 out of Kearney, Missouri. Carter Temple is the man's name. 6'3", 220 pounds, a big left-hander. That sounds familiar? That's what Carter is, and he joins us here this morning. Good to see you, bud. Congratulations. We were visiting off air. Have things settled down? You announced it Saturday morning, or are things still on fire for you?
No, it's really kind of settled down for me, and it's a big weight off my shoulders, and it's pretty awesome.
So give us a little bit of the background of your relationship with NDSU. You got a really actually pretty tight relationship with the city of Fargo, which I'll get to in a second, but tell us about why NDSU was the school for you.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've been up there about 5 times. So I actually won a national championship. It was my freshman year going into my sophomore year. So I've been up there twice for wrestling and been up there 3 times just for football related stuff. So, I mean, it made it kind of feel like it was already kind of home.
So I know you're officially offered by NDSU in January. Was that a different type of offer than the other ones you had? Did that one stand out to you when you got that one?
It did, because, I mean, I've been talking to NDSU since my sophomore year, and I knew they were really interested in me, and I knew I was too. So when I finally got that, I was actually at morning football at 6 a.m. and I called my parents and called my brother, and it was, I was really, really excited. So it was a different one for me.
Now, I know Coach Polisic was down in your neck of the woods last week. Why was that the time to say, I'm ready to commit?
It was kind of a thing where we had it on the date that he was coming down, but, it wasn't, I just felt like it was time. We have team camp next week, school's about to be over, and I really wanted to be committed before not before school was over, but before football stuff started, just so I can have my mind on it and, all the pressure was gone. And so, I got to see him in person, and I felt like that would be a really special time.
What was his reaction when you told him?
Yeah, he was really excited. He called Coach B, and Coach Larson, and it was like it was a really exciting moment. He was super excited, and we went down to the field, and that's where I told him.
Carter, it goes without saying what NDSU's quarterback history is. Describe how big of a factor that was for you to commit.
It was huge. It was huge for me, and especially that I just came from, NDSU just came from a left-handed quarterback, who's big, physical, can run, a dual threat. I just kept on looking back on that. It was like the development part of it. Like, I want to go to a program where it develops me, and, that really gives me a good look of kind of what they can do for me.
We're watching some of your highlights. It looks like you crave contact. Is that accurate for you as a quarterback?
Yeah, I'm not scared of contact. I do. I thrive off that. I'm not scared to hit somebody. So, and I think it really helps with our run game too, because, you never know, because our running backs too. I mean, our running backs were really, really good. And so I think, I'm not scared of contact.
We're watching from this past year in the state championship game. Describe that of going undefeated and winning a state high school football championship this past fall.
Yeah, so it's always been my dream. We did win one my freshman year, but I wasn't really the starting quarterback. I wasn't really like the guy. And so all this year, it was just, I took it game by game, but, that in championship game is really what I wanted. And it was, I'll never forget that moment, especially scoring that first touchdown. It was pretty cool. So
for people up here, describe the level of football you play at in Missouri. I believe you're in the third biggest class. What's the level of football on a Friday night basis throughout the year?
We're actually class 4, and it goes to class 6. But our town is just absolutely unbelievable. And I really saw the same thing with NDSU, like when we visited, just the atmosphere and everybody supporting. It's the same way how Kearney is. And I just, that really stuck out to me too. So, and I want to be able to have that, like the fans and stuff. That's really big to me.
We were visiting a little bit off air before our segment started, just of how long this has been going on. Can you describe that for people that don't understand or know the recruiting process of how long this started for you, how long ago this began?
Yeah. So, NDSU was, probably a year and a half ago when we officially started talking. It was at a camp, and I finally met Coach Bashorner. And it was just like, as soon as I met him, I knew I liked him. And I could just tell by the way he was. And then that recruiting process started. And it was hard because it was a long time. It was like 6 months where we were talking, and it was, no offer or anything like that. But that was totally fine.
Carter, when NDSU made its announcement for the Mountain West, did that even elevate them up your own leaderboard? Say, okay, now it's not FCS football, now it's FBS football?
Yeah, so it kind of did help me out a little bit. I've always wanted the dream to play FBS football. It was Division I football, and then it kind of changed to FBS football. But yeah, I think it did. It helped me make my decision even better because I know the level of competition they're going to be playing. That's even tougher.
All right, I got to ask on wrestling. That doesn't seem like a normal combo for a quarterback. What was wrestling your first love, or was it football?
So I don't want to say wrestling was my first love, but when I won my national championship in Fargo, I thought I was going to probably wrestle. I wasn't getting really any college interest. And then I did end up getting my first football offer, and then I kind of knew, I was like, okay, I can do this. And then NDSU came around, and I was like, okay, now I can do this. And then it really just flipped the script for me. I was like, okay, and I've always been a football guy. That's not what I've always loved football. But wrestling was kind of taking over just a little bit.
So I've been up there. I know a lot of people that watch my show or listen to it have been to the USA Wrestling Nationals up at the Dome. It is a big-time deal. These are the best in the country. You won a national championship. So you're not some slouch in that. What was that experience like a couple of years ago to do that?
That's probably my most memorable moment of my life. It was one thing that I dreamed of. My freshman year, I went there and I went about 2-2 in freestyle and like 3-2 in Greco. So I trained my butt off that whole entire next summer, and I was like, okay, I know what I'm going up here to do, and I was so focused. And wrestling helps me so much with that moment right there. I feel like there's really never going to be a bigger moment in my life than being one-on-one with a guy on a mat in front of about 10,000 people.
And the fact you've already had some experience in the Fargo Dome doesn't hurt either, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What was that moment like when you won? Can you describe that?
Oh gosh, it was a lot of emotions. I was so pumped up, but I was so like emotional too, where it was just it was a big thing, and so my hard work and all that finally came true, and so it was a really just extraordinary moment. It was really fun and stuff.
Now, on the flip side, tell me what it was like telling your mom and dad you committed. What was that emotion like last week?
Oh gosh, so it was amazing. My parents are my biggest supporters. I mean, those are the people that I want to be like when I grow up. Like, they've taught me everything. They do everything for me. Like, they have revolved their life around mine to try and make me where I want to go. And so they were just super proud. I mean, just my mom, she's loved NDSU for a long time, and so has my dad. But they loved it, and they kind of knew, but they knew when it was kind of official. They were excited.
So you're coming up this weekend. What is how getting another trip to Fargo? But is the pressure off now that this is all done?
Yeah, the pressure is off. It feels amazing. It's like I said, I'm excited to finally get up there, and it's like, okay, this is for fun. Like, it's I get to finally look at everything in a different aspect. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right, well, tell us about the upcoming football season. You're reigning state champs. Expectations can't be any higher. What do you make of 2026 on this upcoming fall for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, so we had our little spring ball type of stuff. I think we're even better. I think the guys we have on offense are even better. I think we have some young cats that are coming up that are even better. And I think all of our goals was going to be 14-0 and win another state championship. And I don't think there's not one kid on our team that thinks differently than that. And and of course we have, Coach Minnick, and our coaches we have the best coach in the state by far.
I got to ask, how big a deal is Cole Davis in your hometown? That's a guy, quarterback from your hometown, that came up here and won 5 national championships in his time here.
He's a really big deal. I actually think we have one of his jerseys in our locker room. So he's a big deal. Everybody knows who he is.
That's fantastic. What's the head now? You mentioned you got the visit up here. What are summer plans now that you're not doing camps and all that like you have the last couple of years?
Yeah, last year I was on the road for 21 days out of June, so it's going to be an absolute it's going to be a more fun summer, but I'm ready to just be with my team and just worry about that, because like I said, we all want to go 14-0, win another state championship. That takes a lot of preparation early on, and I'm finally excited to be like, okay, let's go. Like, there's no other pressure or no committing, nothing like that.
Are you going to wrestle again next winter?
I don't know. It's up in the air. I would be going for my 4th state championship, but I'm not sure yet. It's really whatever my coaches want me to do. If they tell me, hey, we want you down here, then I'm going. But it would be pretty cool to win my 4th state championship. I'm not going to lie.
So let me ask, are you a better quarterback or a better wrestler?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I would probably say now I'm a better quarterback.
Okay.
Just because I've dedicated the last year to 2 years to full on quarterback.
Yeah.
But my freshman year, I would probably say I might be a better wrestler. I was like I said, I was training wrestling really, really hard, so it really wasn't like I was training football really, really hard, but now it's kind of flipped. So I would say I'm a better quarterback.
Well, you won 3 state wrestling championships in 3 different weight classes. That's unbelievably impressive. How proud are you of that fact?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, and all three of those first ones I've went at least in like triple overtime in one of the matches. The first two were in the finals, and then this last year was in the semi. So it's not like it's been an easy thing to achieve. So it's a pretty awesome deal. I'm really proud of it.
Last thing before I let you go, and I appreciate the time. I know you've been super big. Have you had a chance to enjoy this and celebrate it, or is that still to come about your commitment?
I have a little bit. The day that I did commit, me and the family went out and ate a little bit.
Nice.
My brother's he's my best friend. Like, I love everything about him. He actually didn't get to come. He was in Hawaii with his wife. They got married 2 weeks ago. So I think when he gets back in town, we're gonna do some more stuff with all the family and my sister and all that. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. Congratulations, bud. I really appreciate you doing this. Good luck in the last couple days of school. Thanks for giving us a few minutes, and we'll talk before football season gets going, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
There he is, Carter Temple from Kearney, Missouri, the NDSU 2027 quarterback commit, joining us after he announced over the weekend that he has verbally committed. Offers from 15 different schools. All the Dakota schools had offered him, had several FBS. Northern Illinois had offered him. Rice had offered him. Arkansas State had offered him. I know Iowa State, Tyler Roll had worked him out, was hot and heavy on him. And I think they were getting close to pulling a trigger on offering him. And you heard what Carter said, his relationship with the Bison coaching staff. He's been up here plenty. NDSU had put in a lot of legwork here to secure. I mean, when you look at that video, does that not look like Cole Payton? If we were to put up Cole Payton's high school video, which we did when Cole committed, I will never forget that, with the long hair as well, which is fantastic. We can embarrass him about that. But if you were to watch Cole Payton's high school video from Omaha West Side in 2020, and you put it up next to Carter Temple, I'm telling you, it's a spitting image here. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be the same result, but, man, there are similarities that I'm sure the Bison staff, there's some talent here to work with. And he will join next year. The 2027 quarterback room would have Trey Drake back next season, Preston Brown, Xander Smith, Henry Nelson's coming in as part of the incoming signing class from Meridian, Idaho. That will be the quarterbacks on the Bison football roster in 2027. Good stuff there from Carter. If you missed it, inforum.com is my story on his commitment from over the weekend. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll put a bow on things. Get you ready. We got a big Sports Monday on tap. We'll do that when Hot Mike wraps on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a busy Monday. We're back with you tomorrow. Big show coming up. Feature a couple of the NDSU track standouts on our program tomorrow. Looking forward to that. The NCAA Golf Regionals are underway. The Bison are about to tee off, actually, in Arizona. They are in a regional with LSU, Alabama, Oklahoma State, who's the reigning champs, Arizona on their home course. Yeah, there's some heavy hitters here, so we'll see how they fare. They're about to go. That actually is live streamed as well. You got to pay for that, but you're able to watch the Bison play golf here over the next couple days in Arizona. They got to finish in the top 5 as a team to advance on to the final stage of qualifying, which is in Carlsbad, California at the end of the month, or the top finisher that's not on one of the 5 teams also gets to advance on. So you got to play some crazy golf. Like we had Jake Scarperud here last week tell us exactly the challenge that's in front of them. That's what they're going to have to do. So we'll be keeping our eyes on that over the next couple days. Dom, I wanted to call your attention to an athlete at Northern Cass. Cadence Husar, an 8th grader, has qualified for this year's state track meet. Excuse me. Has qualified for this year's state track meet in 8 events. Amazing young lady with a lot of talent and determination. Great local story. My husband and I watch your show all the time. Love the local sports news. Appreciate the heads up on that. Perfect segue for let everybody know that we will be, again, bringing you the state track meet beginning on Thursday with live streaming coverage then. We're on television Friday and Saturday from the Bowl in Bismarck. Looking forward to hopefully the weather will cooperate like it did last year for us. It always runs the gamut. But one of the great events. It's the family reunion of North Dakota. That's how I call it. I believe my good friend Mike Zier calls it the same, that you have 3,000 athletes. Every school has a track representative. It's unlike any other event we have because everybody is represented, and looking forward to that beginning on Thursday. Let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. All right, What to Watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Here we go. We got Game 1 tonight, Spurs and Thunder, 7:30 on NBC in the Western Conference Finals. We got Game 7 in the NHL, Canadiens and the Sabres, 6:30 on ESPN. Winner gets Carolina for the Eastern Conference Championship. Should be a raucous environment in Buffalo. Not sure if raucous is the right word to describe the environment at Target Field tonight. The Twins are going with a bullpen game as they open up with the Astros, 6:30 tonight on Twins TV. Our thanks to Carter Temple, to Jeff Kolpack, and to Sam Herder. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Have a great Monday, everybody. Stay warm out there. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Hot Mike on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. See you tomorrow.